Americans have been celebrating Independence Day, and some think there's nothing more free than owning a semi-automatic rifle. But after the worst shooting in modern American history, there's a renewed campaign to limit access to some types of firearms. It's rattled gun shop owners, as Kilmeny Duchardt reports from Maryland.
The AR-15 is one of America's most popular rifles, used recreationally by gun aficionados, but often associated with mass shootings.
It's simple, it's ergonomic, easy to use. They're relatively cheap compared to some other rifles. They're very familiar. Everyone knows them.
The demand is so high, Andy Raymond's store here in Maryland makes them.
There's a standard to them that allows interchangeability, so they're very modular, almost like Legos.
But after the largest mass shooting in U.S. history, there's renewed calls to ban semi-automatic weapons like these.
People are afraid that that kind of politics is going to step in and take away their Second Amendment right to bear arms. So they do tend to buy more guns after a shooting or after there's more politics and when there's bills presented, anti-gun bills presented on the House floor.
Firearms like these are flying off the shelves.
There are more guns in circulation in the United States than the total population of 318 million Americans. Owning a gun is part of American culture, and the right to bear arms is enshrined in the U.S. Constitution's Second Amendment, printed right here on this gun. And that's why guns in America are big business.
So far in 2016, gun and ammunition manufacturers raked in nearly $16 billion. They've doubled their production in recent years, spending $5.6 million on production in 2009 to nearly $11 million in 2013.
Most of the guns being sold are those handguns. They're not long guns for hunting. Most of them are handguns for self-defense and for practice shooting and so on. So it's those people driving the sales, and it's those people who see at the ranges, and more, it's actually women buying guns.
Talk of banning guns may be good for Andy Raymond's bottom line, but he says it could spell trouble for the future of the industry.
Calm and steady is the way, not this crazy stuff. I think sooner or later, as America's population changes, as our politics change, as our views change, or as the views of some Americans change, that sooner or later it's going to happen, no matter what. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if Trump wins, doesn't matter. Sooner or later, you talk about 3-4 generations from now, this stuff will all be gone. If there is a serious assault weapons ban or a semi-automatic weapons ban or a handgun ban, we got real problems. I'm going to be driving a truck.
Raymond's been in the business of manufacturing and selling firearms for more than a decade and says that if there is a day that guns are taken off his shelves, he hopes it won't be in his lifetime. Kilmeny Duchardt, TRT World, Rockville, Maryland.
Well, let's look now at the rationale behind gun ownership in the United States. And we're joined by Craig Capitas, who's in Paris for us. Craig, for our viewers around the world who don't really understand why Americans are so connected to their guns, take us through it.
Historians call it the myth of American regeneration through violence. It's pervasive, and it's powerful, and it sells. And the best way to explain that is to run that video clip.
Killing that boy is a thing I regret having had to do, but if you push me any further ever, you or your brothers, I won't shoot one of you in the arm and hold my fire on the other. I won't chance it a second time.
Craig, that's a very interesting little clip there. Just explain a little bit more about that.
It's from the popular Western TV show Paladin from the late 50s and early 60s. And whether it's a Western or Han Solo blasting stormtroopers in Star Wars, Americans love their guns. There's over 60 million households in the United States that are armed. There's more than 300 million guns. There's a psychodynamic involved here that people who are not Americans, I don't think will ever get. It is akin to the love affair that the British have with their royal family. It is ingrained. Now, of course, the Queen of England and the royal family don't go out killing anyone, but that is the dynamic at work, and it's underpinned by the Second Amendment.
Why is it we see such an outcry after each massacre, and yet the glorification in Hollywood of guns continues unabated.
Well, this is not going to be pretty, Matthew, but it has to do with kill ratio. The AR-15 is essentially a tinker toy gun. There are many other weapons out there available that can do equal damage or more damage. But when you assign a number of dead people to having been killed with a certain weapon, it does tend to put it in the news. I could give you an entire list of handguns that can hold up to 30 rounds that would do the same thing. American boys and girls, when we're brought up, we're taught two things early on: how to drive a car and a motorcycle, and how to fire a gun. And it all started with that cult peacemaker you saw in the Paladin clip. It is fun to shoot a gun. Should Americans be allowed to have guns? Personally, I think it's a serious problem, but the only way to solve it is to amend the Second Amendment. That's it. And if you do that, you have a real problem. You have more than 300 million firearms in the United States, so how are you going to confiscate those? It's going to lead to more problems.
And if we look at your T-shirt, that tells us all we need to know about their attitude. If you try to take people's guns, what would they say?
They would say, "Come and take it," which was the battle flag that flew over Gonzales, Texas on October 2nd, 1835, when a cannon that was given to the Texican settlers there was turned on the Mexicans. And the Mexicans who had given them the cannon to protect themselves from Comanchero Indians said, "We want the gun back." They made this flag, they sent it up the flagpole, and right now, this T-shirt and the flag is the biggest selling item in the Alamo gift shop in San Antonio, Texas.
Okay, there's our very own Dirty Harry, or Craig Capitas, as we like to call him, in Paris. Thank you.